What's up, Matt?
Hi, Louisa.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
You know,
Yeah, it's supposed to clear up today. What happened?
well, I think the opposite. No, this is obviously, I'm kind of at the end of my busy time for my other job, retail, because of making sure all the products where it's supposed to be. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
been, that's what in retail, you live on months like December. And
Interesting.
yeah, you're just trying to get it there at the right time, the right place.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of places you got to get stocked?
Well, no, I mean, we have distribution issues and
Oh,
port,
okay.
more port challenges than you'd ever think,
Hi, Susan.
you know.
Hey, Beth
Hi,
Ann.
Louisa.
Hi.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So
Yeah. What do you say? Just get her done is what they want you to do. Get her done.
yeah, about
Hey,
ready to
Matt.
start driving trucks to those.
Hello.
Yeah, right. Bonnie, Michael.
Hey,
Who else is there? Anthony, Dan, JC, Tim. Cool.
Hi, everybody.
And soon Tracy. Anthony, where's a picture of the baby?
I'll have to send you over one. He's
Okay.
he's great.
Nice Christmas tree.
Thank you.
Cool.
My two other kids set it up all by themselves.
Oh, God, thank God. Good job.
You're a brave man.
Yeah, brave man. No kidding.
I used to tie mine down to a table. I would anchor the table to the wall first, and then I put a medium-sized tree on top of the table and then tie that down when my kids
Why?
were little.
Oh, because of the kids.
Yeah, when the kids were little. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only way I
Yeah.
could. I had too many of them fall over.
Yeah,
My
that
grandson,
and pets. Pets will do it.
my grandson decided to throw his alphabets, all of his numbers, and then I woke up this morning, he's got all of his cars in the tree. I thought, oh God, I'm done. He's funny.
That is funny.
That is funny. Interesting kid.
Always trying to help decorate.
Okay, well, that's a good thought. Uh,
so I think at this point, we're just waiting for the auditor to join.
oh, okay. Who's CH21?
Channel 21.
Channel 21.
Oh.
Just so we can live stream it.
Duh. Thanks, Bonnie.
It's my new nickname.
Is it? I thought, I don't know that person.
Wishing I was 21 again. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. I don't. 35 maybe. 21, no.
I agree.
We're waiting for auditor, is that the idea? Okay.
Yes, I don't see him in the waiting room yet. Nope, here comes somebody.
Hi, this is Alex Barrett. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Unfortunately, we were not able to join through our internet browser, so we may have to do this over the phone.
Okay.
I don't know if you have a capability on your end to allow people to join through the internet browser. Usually with Zoom, we have that as an option, but this time when we get all the way through the process, it just says it's not supported and you must register for this meeting.
Correct. Registration is required to attend, I think, probably via video. The numbers and the passcode just get you into the meeting, I think, audio wise.
Okay.
So would you be able to send that to him? I mean, can he, if we? just
I
send
did,
it-
actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Somehow
The link I send all of you guys, the same link.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and so yeah, and unfortunately with that one, so we have the link, but when we click on that, it won't let us share our video. So we can't join through that link.
Just to be clear, you have to click on that link to get the actual link for the meeting. Then you use the one that you get after you register to go into the waiting room. Bonnie will allow you into the meeting. And then if you need to share your desktop at that time, Bonnie will allow that as well.
Yeah, and so normally we can get in that way, but when we click, so we have this email this morning from Bonnie at 9:22 a.m. with that link, and I click that, and I join that through. We don't have Zoom as an app or as an option, so we have to join through our internet browser, and usually you can do that through Chrome or through Microsoft Edge. But when we get through the whole process where we type in our name and everything of who we are, it says this is not supported this meeting is not supported through internet browser.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I've never encountered, I mean, we've done a lot of Zoom meetings this way, and I've never encountered this one.
Yeah, we'll definitely check that out.
You,
Hi everyone, this is Sean.
Sean.
Just wanted to let you know I was here.
Do you all have the documents in front of you at least, in case we do need to go over this over the phone?
No, I don't believe we do.
I have the one, I can share the screen. Is that the one, Beth Ann?
The exit conference packet, yes.
Yes, and I just emailed it to the council members. So,
Perfect.
yeah. But Bonnie, I gave that to her yesterday. So.
Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie.
Yeah, so if we want, we can get, I'm not sure, is this an open public meeting for you?
It is.
Okay, so have you already called it to order and everything?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, and you have the floor.
Oh, we have the floor. Perfect. That's what I was going to ask. I wasn't sure if you're ready. Okay, perfect. Well, sorry for the technical difficulties. Welcome to 2020, right? It never seems to go as planned. I appreciate you all powering through with this, and I'm glad you can at least see what we're going to present today. And we can definitely answer any questions you have over the phone. Again, apologize we can't see each other face to face. We're really looking forward to that. But of course, the purpose of today's meeting is to share the results of our audit and our draft reporting with you. We appreciate your participation and feedback, especially at open public meeting. We always like to say, one of the first things we do when we come into an audit is we look at the tone at the top, or the control environment. And the whole fact that we get to present this at an open public meeting and that all the council members are interested in our results just speaks volume about the tone at the top for the city. So we really appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to attend today's exit conference. Of course, today we'll be going over the accountability audit report for 2019 and the financial statement audit report for 2019, the same two audits that we've been doing in the prior years. And with that, if there's no questions, and then of course, sorry, with me today, I just have Sean Fitzgerald, who is the assistant audit manager on the audit. And he kind of took over as the lead about halfway through on the audit as well. So he did a lot of the audit work himself this year, and then I would supervise his work. So it's just the two of us, and my name, of course, is Alex Barrett, and I'm the audit manager for Team South King County. I've been with the team now for roughly a year and a half, and so this is my second exit conference with you all. And I know I met a few of you, at least 3 of you last year. So at least I got to meet you last year. Apologize you don't get to meet this year. Hopefully next year we'll be able to actually do this back in person. Again, I'm optimistic that will happen. But in the meantime, I'll pass it to Sean to go over the audit highlights.
Thank you, Alex. So since we're doing this over the phone, I'll just kind of relay page numbers kind of based on the PDF file number. And we'll start with the first page, which is our exit conference document. And we're going to start off with the exit conference document and then kind of jump to certain reports. And I'll kind of let you know the page number and kind of give you a few seconds to catch up so we're all on the same page. If you have any questions, feel free to jump in at any time. Happy to answer them. And so with that, on page 1, we're going to start with audit reports. And for the City of Des Moines, we performed 2 audits this year, the accountability audit and the financial statement audit. Both were for January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019. As you can see, we have the financial statement audit report has been published, whereas the accountability audit is still in draft report. We completed the financial statement audit on July 30th in order for the city to meet the CAFR deadline, which they successfully did. So that report was published on July 30th. The accountability audit report is in draft report, but you will see the published report tomorrow. We do plan to publish and release the report tomorrow at 10 a.m. So going forward, you'll see on the accountability report, it'll say draft. But going forward, once it's released, that language will disappear. First off, audit highlights. We really want to thank Beth Ann and Sean and city staff for their cooperation and timely responses to our audit requests. This was a very interesting audit, to say the least, with the lockdown. We really appreciate, Sean was handling point and Beth Ann was also available. Providing documents that we're so used to just being on site and being able to access documents readily and quickly. It was a little different this year. We had to, a lot of documents scanned and sent, just a lot of coordination through email. So it's very different from prior years, and we really appreciate everyone's involvement in getting the audit done. And so thank you again. And also, we do appreciate the city's ongoing commitment to transparency and accountability. So with that, we're going to start with the accountability audit. So we're going to have to scroll down. And the accountability report begins on page 4. And then on the next page of page 5, you'll see a letter from Pat McCarthy. And just so you know, we're not going to go through everything word for word, really going to focus on the highlights and then stop for any questions after certain sections. So page 6 is the table of content. And then page 7 is the audit results. Please let me know when you're there.
We're there. We're looking at page 4 right now?
Page 7.
I think page 4 is page 7 because of the intro.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I apologize.
I was a little confused for a second, but I'm confused all the time.
So yeah. So it'd be page 4 of the audit accountability audit report, but page 7 of the PDF packet. So here we'll have audit results. So results in brief. This report describes the overall results and conclusions for the areas we examined. In most of the areas we examined, city operations complied in all material respects with applicable state laws, regulations, and its own policies, and provided adequate controls over safeguarding of public resources. As referenced above, we identified areas where the city can make improvements. These recommendations are included with our report as a finding. In keeping with general auditing practices, we do not examine every transaction, activity, policy, internal control, or area. As a result, no information is provided on the areas that were not examined. If you'll scroll down below, about the audit, you'll notice some bullet points. We reviewed the following areas. the Parks, Recreation, and Senior Services, cash receipting at the Community Development and Courts, accounts receivable at the Community Development Department, EFT disbursements, open public meeting requirements, and financial condition. Does anyone have any questions about those areas before we move on to the finding?
I do.
Sure.
So how did you decide, this is J.C. Harris, how did you, I can't see any faces now. How did you decide which areas these bullet points would be covered in this report?
Okay, sure. So we perform during our accountability planning procedures what we call a risk assessment. You'll see the paragraph right above those bullet points. We talk about looking at the areas examined representing the highest risk of fraud, loss, abuse, or non-compliance. Again, that's not necessarily always the case. What we want to do is look at areas each year. We do our planning procedures and we look at areas and ask ourselves, like, what are areas, that we could think could be at high risk for loss or non-compliance? Maybe there are areas we just haven't looked at in years past that could be significant areas. Like, for example, like courts, and always, we feel can be kind of a high risk area. And it's not necessarily that we're concerned specifically about an entity's courts. It's just their very nature. They handle a lot of cash receipting. They're doing a lot of adjustments in the JIS system. So it's just kind of the very nature of the system could cause like, hey, this is a big area we want to look at. And so sometimes areas pop out from year to year that we feel like we want to look at. Other times it's like, hey, this is a significant accounting area, like disbursements or payroll, cash receipting that we want to look at this year. Does that answer your question?
Well, just one quick follow-up. Do you like rotate from year to year so that you cover all of the bases over a period of time, or
sometimes we do. We might rotate in the case of hitting, what we call significant accounting systems. Again, payroll, disbursements, cash receipting, we consider those really significant areas. Other times, sometimes something might be so high risk that we might just audit year after year, especially if we find recurring issues.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and then one other thing we consider too is statewide themes. So you'll notice on one of these, the accounts payable EFT disbursements, electronic fund transfer disbursements, that's a statewide theme. We're actually auditing that at every entity across the state. And we're getting even more, and I think you'll see it next year, getting more into the IT type areas, backup and recovery, patch updates, things like that, because while operating during the pandemic, fraudsters know people have changed the way they operate and they seize those opportunities. So we're starting to look a lot more IT related things, and a lot of that just comes from statewide things that we see elsewhere. So not necessarily the city of Des Moines, but there's been a lot of IT related frauds, especially around EFT disbursements. So that's one of the reasons, like, for example, we look at that area as well. We do definitely consider how often we audit an area and try to get coverage in areas that we haven't audited. And then also we do a risk assessment with, your finance director and usually one council member at the beginning of the audit. If you ever have a specific area you'd like us to look at, we'll definitely take that into consideration and usually can incorporate that into the audit. So if you ever have an area you want us to look at, just let us know towards the start of the audit and we'll try our best to incorporate that.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Any other questions? All right, I'll just move on. So here we go with the schedule of audit findings and responses. Sure you're familiar with the background and the finding in general, and so we're not going to, again, read it verbatim. Just want to focus on several highlighted areas. So on the description of condition, about halfway down, which would be page 6 of the audit report, page 9 of the PDF packet, you'll see description of condition. The second paragraph we want to draw your attention to, the city's internal controls over cash receipting were not sufficient to detect or prevent a diversion of public funds to a separate independent entity. Specifically, the city did not perform an independent review of department cash receipts to ensure all amounts collected were deposited in the city's bank account. On the next page, we have our recommendations, and we recommend the city assess and monitor actual and potential conflicts of interest, perform an independent reconciliation of parks, recreation, and senior services cash receipts, and recover the $8,140 of public funds deposited into the Des Moines Legacy Foundation's bank account. After the recommendation, we have the city's response for several pages. And then at the bottom of page 9 of the audit report, page 12 of the PDF packet, we have our remarks and just thanking city personnel for their assistance and cooperation. I'll stop now. Does anyone have any questions or comments about this finding?
No questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Let's move forward.
Okay. All right, thank you. Page 10 of the audit report, related reports, is our financial statement audit report. We'll get that after we finish our accountability report. Last page of the accountability audit report, just last 2 pages, excuse me, just information about the city, contact information, some background, audit history. Anytime you want to look at the current and past audit reports for the city, we have a link to our website. And then the last page, which is page 12 of the audit report, page 15 of the PDF file, we have just information about our auditors, our office, and links to fraud, state whistleblower, citizen hotline investigations, links to our website and our free electronic subscription service so you can keep it up to date. And then again, any information regarding public records requests is provided there. And that concludes the accountability audit report. Any questions?
Not hearing any.
All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to the financial statement audit report. Again, January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019. This begins on page 16 of the PDF packet. That is the cover page. And then I'm going to scroll down to, because again, we're not going to cover everything verbatim. I would ask everyone to scroll to page 4 of the financial statement report, which is page 19 of the PDF packet. And I'll just stop here so everyone can get on the same page.
I believe it's on our screen.
Okay, perfect. So you'll see at the top, we have several financial statement audit reports. The first one is the Independent Auditor's Report on Internal Control over Financial Reporting. And in this report, we'll start halfway down, Internal Control over Financial Reporting. In planning and performing our audit of the financial statements, we considered the city's internal control over financial reporting to determine the audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances for the purpose of expressing our opinions on the financial statements, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the city's internal control. Accordingly, we do not express an opinion on the effectiveness of the city's internal control. If we move to the next page, which would be page 5, that's the first full paragraph on page 5 is our consideration of internal control was for the limited purpose described in the first paragraph of this section and was not designed to identify all deficiencies in internal control that might be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. Given these limitations during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. However, material weaknesses may exist that have not been identified. On the next paragraph, compliance and other matters, second full paragraph under that byline, the results of our tests disclose no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported under government auditing standards. Does anyone have any questions about that report?
Not seeing any.
All right. Move on to the next report, the Independent Auditor's Report on Financial Statements. This is page 6 of the Financial Statement Audit Report and page 21 of the PDF packet. So I begin at the top, the report on the financial statements. We have audited the accompanying financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2019, which collectively comprise the city's basic financial statements as listed on page 9. We also have management's responsibility. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements, which includes the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal control relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. Next, we have the auditor's responsibility. And our responsibility is to express opinions on these financial statements based on our audit. Those standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from a material misstatement. On the following page, about 1/3 way down, first full paragraph on the next page, we believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinions. In the following paragraph, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the city of Des Moines as of December 31st, 2019. So any questions about the opinion?
Not seeing any.
All right, great. Following along, matters of emphasis, just disclosing that a state of emergency was declared in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Other matters required supplementary information. And at the next page, I would say, so under required supplementary information, top of page 8 of the financial statement audit report, we say we do not express an opinion or provide any assurance on the information because the limited procedures do not provide us with sufficient evidence to express an opinion or provide any assurance. And then finally, other reporting required by government auditing standards. Again, the purpose of the report to describe the scope of our testing of internal control over financial reporting and compliance in those results of that testing. And we didn't provide an opinion on internal control over financial reporting, which again just relates back to the first financial statement report. Any questions on the financial statement audit? I know that's a lot of information to go through, but happy to stop and answer any questions.
I believe J.C. Harris has his hand up.
Sure,
He's on
go
mute.
ahead.
J.C., you're on mute. There you go.
Sorry about that. The screen is totally changed now. You know, this is maybe a broad question, but how much would you say that your activities, your abilities were impacted by the state of emergency? I'm not trying to be, it just sounds like you're taking pains to say that you were limited in some way in your ability to perform these tasks. And I'm just trying to get a sense, was it a little bit, a lot, because of COVID-19?
Well, just to return back to that. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
Oh, I was going to say, it's a actually really good question. You know, our abilities, most of it became an efficiency ability and more of efficiency on time, like the length, not necessarily the hours on the audit. Sean Humpstock, your finance, the assistant finance director, definitely helped in that facet of being able to get us things quickly. He had lots of meetings with us to discuss things, which helped tremendously to just talk things over Zoom or over Teams or over Skype to get things. We had lots of meetings, and him and Beth Ann and all your staff were always really quick to get us things, which really helped on the financial statement audit. The financial statement audit, as Sean mentioned, we actually issued that way back in July. I want to say City of Des Moines was the first CAFR issued on South King County. So that kind of tells you how ahead of the curve I feel like you were in getting those, being able to scan and send us documents. So that part was really good. And then, you know, the accountability audit just took a little bit longer, and mainly because of that finding. And that had to do with review and back and forth and just getting everybody on the same page to make sure all the facts of the situation were correct. And then for accountability, it kind of affected us in the fact that we tried to, if we could, avoid things such as like cash receipting besides the one area we looked at. You know, maybe we would have looked at other departments as well. A lot of times we'll look at like the permit or license department just because of the amount of activity that comes through those departments. And a lot of times for a city of your size, we look at small and attractive assets and things of that sort. That's much easier to do when you're on site rather than off site, because when you're looking at cash receipting, it often involves sending over batch reports, which are rather large and would take just way too much manpower and time to scan and send over. So unless there was a risk we were just had to look at, for example, the cash receipting at the Parks and Senior Center, we would try to avoid those areas this year. So that's more or less how the pandemic has affected our office as a whole. It's just taking a little bit longer to complete audits. Again, it's not driving the budget. It's just like one thing we've done to combat this is we're doing multiple audits at the same time, just because it does take longer to get documentation.
I have one really quick follow-up. What was the date that this packet I'm reading now was transmitted to the City of Des Moines?
That would have been, was it yesterday, Sean?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it would have been, the whole packet would have been yesterday. The finding, of course, that was transmitted several weeks ago because that's how we got the city's response, was by transmitting that. The rest of this packet and the management representation letter would have been way back in July when we first gave that, because we have to obtain that to issue the financial statement audit report. So it's a little different, and then I would say the financial statement audit report has actually been published on our website and provided to the city back in July as well. So if you go to the handout, the first handout, the exit conference agenda, that was yesterday, and then this draft accountability audit report would have been yesterday. The other items most likely would have been July.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Buxton?
So just as an item of clarification, so what you're saying about the challenges, it was more a matter of time, but not quality, correct?
Correct. I can 100% say our financial statement audit was done to the same standards, if not higher standards, than we have done in the past. And same with the accountability areas that we've selected for audit. We just made sure to select those areas in the accountability audit that are a little bit easier to do in a remote atmosphere.
Okay.
Mayor Dan had a question.
I'm sorry. I can't see. Who has the question, Bonnie?
Dan.
Please
Dan had
ask
his
it.
hand.
Please ask it.
No, that was the statement. I just wanted clarification that the audit this year was as thorough and complete as in previous years, regardless of the challenges that the pandemic presented. So it sounds like that was already answered.
Yes, and I'd say absolutely on that. And that's part of the reason why, efficiency-wise, time-wise, it just took a little bit longer, because we're all required, ourselves in the city, to still hold ourselves to those same standards. So it just took a little bit longer to get there, but we definitely still met those standards.
Okay.
And in no way that's a reflection on the city either. Again, I'd say this, especially City of Des Moines case, they did a fantastic job of helping this audit move along more efficiently than most.
Okay. Bonnie, are you seeing anyone else with a hand up?
I do not.
Okay. Is there anything
All right.
else? to
So
cover?
we're gonna.
Sure.
I
I'll
can
just
take it.
I'll just wrap up the financial statement report. So where we're at, page 9 of the financial statement audit report, page 24 of the PDF packet. Here you'll just have the financial section. This lays out the components of your financial statements. On our website, you'll see that our full audit report will include your audited financial statements for 2019. Those are included on our website. Just for brevity, is adding an extra 100 pages to this report. But the full financial statement audit report is online and available for viewing. And then next page, again, about the state auditor's office. It's the same documentation as our accountability audit report. And then the last few pages refer to the management representation letters we received, and then also the schedule of uncorrected misstatements. Scrolling back up to the top. Oh, I'm sorry. Any final questions on the financial statement report before I continue?
Not seeing any.
All right. Well, now to bring it all the way back to page 1 in the front of the exit conference document, we'll continue from there.
We're there.
All right. So continuing halfway down, recommendations not included in the audit report. We had a few exit items that we provided to management, both to Beth Ann and Sean. We consider these to kind of minor housekeeping items, and really we don't go over them at the during the exit conference. Communications required by audit standards. In relation to our financial statement audit report, we would like to bring to your attention uncorrected misstatements in the audited financial statements are summarized on the city's management representation letter included below. We agree with management's representation that these misstatements are immaterial to the fair presentation of the financial statements. And secondly, there were no material misstatements in the financial statements corrected by management during the audit. Any questions there?
Don't see any.
All right. The second page, finalizing your audit. Report publication. So we have a link to when we will publish the audit report. Again, it will be published tomorrow at 10 a.m. And we do have a kind of a sign-up letter for notifications. Management representation letter. Those being included at the bottom of the report. Audit cost. At the entrance conference, we estimated the cost of the audit to be $62,000 plus estimated charges for travel time of $4,000. Actual audit costs will be closer to $67,000 due to our Parks, Recreation, and Senior Services review. For clarification, since this audit was done remotely, no travel time was charged. The next scheduled audit we have planned for May 2020, and will include, again, the accountability and the financial statement report, including the CAFR audit, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And we've also included federal programs. So we are anticipating, I believe through CARES Act funding, that the city may qualify for a federal single audit for 2020. As such, the estimated cost for next audit, we've increased up to $72,000 plus travel expenses. Again, this is a preliminary estimate for budgeting and not a guarantee of final cost. Any questions about audit costs or the next audit?
And I would just add that if there is no federal audit needed for the city, that would then go back down to $62,000, same as this year's beginning projected cost.
Not seeing any questions.
Deputy Mayor Mahoney had a question.
Oh, Deputy Mayor Mahoney, go ahead.
Actually, just a point of clarification, the next audit's completed or scheduled to be conducted in May 2021 for 2020. Is that what it's?
Thank you. It's May 2021. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it says it in there. I was like, wait a minute.
Good catch.
Any other questions? Okay, not seeing any.
All right, Alex, I'll hand it over to you. Perfect. Working together with government. So there'll be an audit survey attached. There's one attached to the financial statement audit report. When that came out, there'll also be one attached to the accountability report once that gets issued. We appreciate any feedback you may have. You can forward those to anybody on your staff, any council members, anybody that wants to give feedback. So if we've worked with somebody in particularly more than others, sometimes it's good to forward that to them to see how we did. We appreciate anything that we did well that you'd like to see us continue to do, or anything that we can improve on. We always look at those closely and appreciate that feedback. And then at this exit conference, we always like to touch on a couple teams that are there to really support our local government. That's our local government support team and the Center for Government Innovation. The local government support team, they're the ones that run your SAW account. So for those of you familiar with that, it's the system where you upload your financial statements. It's also a system where you can go in and ask help desk questions. So if you're encountering any issues throughout the year and you're not sure what the guidance is on that and you're curious what SAO has to say about that, you can submit those questions at no additional cost and get that feedback throughout the year. You can also always reach out to us directly and we'll get those answers to you. I know Sean and Beth Ann are well familiar with that system and they have utilized that service in the past, and we always appreciate seeing that. And then the Center for Government Innovation, they're just constantly coming out with good checklists, how-tos, and especially on things that are happening immediately. So they're the ones that you'll want to kind of look at and see as CARES funding guidance comes out. They'll be putting that out. There's not a lot of guidance out there right now. So it's good to check back every once in a while, but we also put that in our quarterly SAO mail out letters as well. They also have things specifically for elected officials, like executive session. What are the rules associated with that? How do you call one? Things of that sort. Also just OPMA in general. And they just come out with lots of good things like that. Piggybacking was a big issue a couple of years ago, so they came out with a lot of guidance on piggybacking when you're doing procurement. So if you're ever curious, I just rounded out by saying, if you're ever curious about something, you're just trying to make management decisions and you're wondering what kind of guidance is out there and if SAO has any guidance, you can reach out to us. We'll do that research for you, or you can reach out to either one of these teams using the emails provided, and they'll do that research for you. So, and again, all of this stuff is done at no additional cost than your regular audit costs, even if it happens throughout the year. And I always like to say, one of my favorite parts of the job is answering questions from entities, and I always set aside time every week to answer those questions, as does Sean. I know he really enjoys doing that research and answering those questions. We like to believe that we're providing a service to you, not just an agency that comes in and provides your audit services, but also helps you operate more efficiently and effectively, especially during this pandemic when all of us are definitely watching our bottom lines a little bit closer. Anything we can do to help you in that, just let us know and we'll definitely do that. And our contact information, of course, is provided there at the bottom. And you can reach out to any of us at any time if you have questions. I believe that's all we have for you, Dave, unless there's any questions in conclusion.
Any last minute questions? Okay, seeing none, I think that concludes the report. I thank you very much for all of the detail. And as always, we will look forward to speaking to you again next year.
You bet. And I always like to end this with saying congratulations to your finance staff. A clean audit on that financial statement audit. That's not easy to do. It's a lot of work. And it was really a pleasure working with Beth Ann and Sean throughout this audit. We had lots of good conversations, and I look forward to working with both of them again next year.
Well, thank you very much for that input.
Thank you all.
You guys have a good holiday.
All right. We'll see everybody soon.
Bye.